Hey, what's up guys, TechTime here and I am back again with a brand new video. So before I begin this video, first of all, I want to thank you all so much for watching my content. If you enjoy my videos, make sure you leave a thumbs up. The support lately has been incredible, so I definitely appreciate each and every one of you guys. So today we're going to be talking about the Galaxy A14 5G 4 months later. So I've had this phone for 4 months. Obviously, it has its ups and downs. So a couple of things have changed since I actually reviewed this phone. And if you want to see the full review, it will be linked in the description. But this is kind of a follow-up. Because honestly, the way that I look at budget phones in general is that you have to look at them at least 4 months to 6 months later to see how they hold up. And this phone has a couple of flaws, but it still is a pretty good phone overall. So let's talk about the flaws first. Obviously, the construction and the build quality of the phone to me is the biggest flaw, not just because of the material used in the phone. So it is made out of plastic all the way around, and it does have these kind of rails in the back that give like some sort of pattern. It's supposed to help with the grip, but it doesn't really. But the way that I view this build quality is that it's actually horrible, if you ask me. So I had an instance where one of the people that I know that has this phone has put a case on it, and when they took off the case, the actual back frame of the phone came off with the case, and I'm not kidding you. So the glue between the display and the back frame of the phone is really weak and just doesn't make any sense at all to me. Very cheap glue, or I don't know how they did it. Even the power button and the volume up and down, they're not really that quality. They're okay at best. However, as far as the way this phone looks, it's decent. I mean, it doesn't look horrible. It just looks like a basic phone. But for MSRP of $199, and I did see people get it for around $169 or even $100, it works. I just had to make sure that I mentioned this flaw. So be careful when you purchase this phone. Don't put a lot of stress on the back or the front, or you will just eventually mess up your phone. Now, one of the biggest factors that really makes me recommend this phone is the display. So the display on here is absolutely excellent for the price that you're paying. So you get a 1080p sharp display, IPS panel, still quality. So it's not OLED, but it's a very, very high quality IPS panel. I really like it. And not only it's sharp, not only the color are really accurate on it for a LCD display, but also one of the biggest things that this phone has for itself is the fact that it also has 120 hertz refresh rate. Absolutely incredible. So there goes your $100 right there. I would pay $100 just for that. This is what really makes it an incredible value, and I can see why a lot of people are interested in buying this phone. So if you go past that kind of weak build quality, in my opinion, then you'll be fine, right? Just be careful of how you operate the phone. It's not built the best, but the display just makes up for it, in my opinion. And watching content on the phone is absolutely stellar, or even browsing the web, browsing social media and things of that nature. It really, I have nothing to complain about when it comes to this display. So definitely gets a thumbs up for me. In my opinion, the best feature about this phone is this screen. So let's switch the topic of conversation and actually talk about the camera system on this phone. So you can say that this is kind of the third best feature that this phone has. The second, I'll mention it later on in the video. But the reason I'm saying that is because it's a decent camera in daylight conditions. So the way that this camera works is that it has a triple camera setup. You have a main sensor of 50 megapixels. You also have two sensors, one that acts as a macro sensor and the other that acts as a depth sensor, and they're both clocked at 2 megapixels each. This phone takes pictures really quickly, and like I said, if it came to just daylight conditions, then it will perform really well. Obviously, it's not the most color accurate, but it hangs on. It does what it's supposed to for the money that you're paying for the phone. Obviously, though, a couple of categories that it lacks here and there is sometimes the exposure and the highlights are not there. So that's something to keep in mind when you're taking pictures. In my opinion, just keep HDR on. It brings in that nice dynamic range. It makes the picture pop a little bit more. However, in some scenarios, it is a little bit dull. And in indoor conditions, I do have a problem with color accuracy. So the pictures are not as excellent as outdoor conditions just because they really use a lot of artificial light. So that's also something to know. Now, as far as the selfie camera, it's okay at best. It doesn't really do much for me. And the video capability on this phone, it does shoot at 1080p, so keep that in mind. However, it's not really the greatest 1080p camera that I've seen, just because the video quality kind of looks grainy. So overall though, as a camera package for the money that you're paying, it does its job and it does it fairly well. Let's switch the topic of conversation and talk about the performance. So this is not the really best performing phone that you will buy. Here's what I have to say about this category. It does the job well when it comes to the daily tasks. Obviously, if you push this phone, and especially 4 months later, it did lag on me. So the performance did take a hit 4 months later, but it still is fairly decent when it comes to the daily tasks, like just browsing through the web, doing social media, and just the daily stuff. However, one thing that they did not skimp on is the battery life. Believe it or not, this has a bigger battery cell than their flagship S23 lineup. Yes, that's a fact. So the battery life on here, and this is actually my second best feature of this phone, the battery life, which is absolutely excellent. This phone easily will last you more than a day. Whether you do mid stuff or even heavy demanding stuff, it will last you a very decent while. And it does support fast charging up to only 15 watts though. No 25 watt super fast charging, but still is considered fast charging. And overall though, as a package, as a phone, like I said, it's a very enjoyable experience. I have nothing to complain about other than the build quality and the performance lag here and there 4 months later. So with that being said, let me know what you guys think. Obviously, if you have this phone, leave your thoughts below. I'm really curious to see and hear what you guys think of this device. If you like it, if you hate it, if you feel the same as I feel about the build quality. If not, just let me know. Leave it in the description below. I understand that this is a budget phone, and I'm not complaining about the fact that it's made out of plastic, more than not complaining about the fact that the build quality is not up to par, right? I don't think it would have passed the inspection that Samsung has because of the way that the display is not really glued properly to the back of the phone. So leave your thoughts in the description below. I want to thank you all so much for watching, and I will definitely catch you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching.